When somebody can give you 250 million, I think that we should give her the opportunity to say hello. And Miriam, make it quick, because 250 million is not what it used to be. Okay?
What's up, YouTube? Drill Sergeant here, and I've got something to show you. It's very important for multiple reasons. One of them, and not least of them, is the growing narcissism and threat from our orange, tangerine-colored tornado of a president. And I'm going to show you this version, because the lawyer that's speaking on Brian Tyler Cohen's show is the same one who's been combating much of the authoritarian creep that he's been putting in place. He, meaning the Toucans of Spray Tan Sam, number 47. So, watch this. We'll break it in pieces. Every single piece of this is important. Do not turn away.
This is Democracy Watch. Mark, there is a clip that has surged across the news. I'm going to put that on the screen right now.
Miriam gave my campaign, indirectly and directly, 250 million. She was number one. When somebody can give you 250 million, I think that we should give her the opportunity to say hello. And Miriam, make it quick, because 250 million is not what it used to be. Okay?
Now I met Alan Dershowitz, and he said the legal thing about 4 more years, and I said, Alan, I agree with you, so we can do it. Think about it.
Alan's
and
here someplace. Where's Alan?
Alan is here, or he had a flight? Alan is here? Think about it.
Thank you.
Maybe I will be the first one who told me, or second. Yeah.
She said, think about it. I'll give you another 250 million.
I will give.
Yeah. So it is not lost on anybody watching this that he means that. Obvious. We know that here. Many people still don't, though. And we're going to get into that as this story goes on. But there's 3 things I need to mention. Number 1, what you're seeing is an old, delusional narcissist who believes he's still going to be alive then. And if he is, yeah, he does mean it. Number 2, $250 million isn't what it used to be when he said that. Because $250 million used to be about 25% of Donald Trump's net worth, almost $1 billion. Today, after 1 year in the presidency, Donald Trump is now worth over $7 billion. So, yeah, it's not worth what it used to be. To him, it's only about 2.8% of his net worth. So it's not worth what it used to be. And he meant that. $250 million used to be 25% of his net worth. Now it's 2.8% of his net worth because he's gotten rich while in the presidency by being president and nothing else. Number 3, what you're seeing here is a monster. A monster. He's an authoritarian monster. He says it out loud. I'm taking money, transactions, things that he used to say that you had to find on private videos in Mar-a-Lago that people were secretly taping when he was telling the oil manufacturers that he was going to make them billionaires if they give him $1 million or whoever gave him $1 billion or whatever the amazing amount. But he didn't want that to get out. Now he's unfettered. Unchained. Now he is out of the cage. He's a monster. And whatever you think is the lowest point, whatever you think is the worst, it is not. Also proven by how he spoke to the woman who gave him $250 million.
When somebody can give you 250 million, I think that we should give her the opportunity to say hello. And Miriam, make it quick, because 250 million is not what it used to be.
And Miriam, make it quick.
Even more important, you're watching a room of monsters. This is all in the same third point. The room of monsters. Miriam Edelson said at the end, wait a minute, what I said was, I will.
She said, think about it, I'll give you another 250 million.
I will give.
The transactional nature of politics and your life and your children's life, your husband or wife's life, your grandma or your mother and father's life is a dot on a spreadsheet to all of these people. When he said, hey, she just said she'll give me $250 million if I think about winning again. He said, no. I said, I will. In other words, even she is in business mode. Didn't let it go. Couldn't laugh it off. By the way, you know this is a transaction I'm talking about in front of a microphone and television cameras that you're making fun of, Orange Man. That's what you just saw there. Whatever you thought was the lowest, whatever has happened so far, that's been low, that's been horrible, is only the beginning. As the monster grows, as his room of transactional monsters accumulate, and as the brazenness of his narcissism and delusion grows, so adversely will our quality of life in government. This is only the beginning.
First and foremost, as we have discussed in the past, is there a legal pathway for Trump to be able to run for a third term?
No. And I'm going to quote to you from the 22nd Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. No person shall be elected to the office of president more than twice. Okay? That is literally the very first clause of the 22nd Amendment.
So I guess it's worth asking here, in what will probably be an inevitable attempt to parse words and figure out some legal maneuvering here, what about, an instance where he's not necessarily elected to the office of president twice, but gets there because of, maybe there's retirements. Again, like there's been floated this idea that he can run as J.D. Vance's running mate, and then J.D. Vance steps down. Maybe there's some line of succession maneuvering that he can do.
So I think the closest you would get to that would be that he would run for or be appointed Speaker of the House, who is third in line to the presidency.
Right.
And that Republicans would win the House majority in 2028. Then the president would resign, the vice president would resign, and he would elevate. That would be the theory, I suppose. But if Alan Dershowitz wrote a book in which that's what he's saying, first of all, what the fuck kind of book is that?
Yeah.
That's like not even an interesting tweet. Maybe it's a boring article, but if it's a book, there's got to be more to it than that, right?
Well, the more to it is that he knows that whenever somebody writes something sycophantic enough for Trump tweets about it, talks about it, gets it onto the New York Times bestseller list, sells a lot of copies. That person in turn gets money, rinse and repeat.
Right. But
True.
Look, this is completely irresponsible. And Alan Dershowitz was once a very well-respected Harvard law professor. And over time, he became a bit of a crank. And, the fact that he became a bit of a crank became a bit of a joke. But at the point that he is floating these kinds of wild-eyed, unconstitutional theories, we are well beyond the, joke crank.
Stopping here simply because despite the elaborate claims and the elaborate shenanigans that this guy's talking about, that Alan Dershowitz was talking about, there's something more important that's insinuated here. When he said this guy was once an esteemed Harvard law professor that has turned into this crank because an extra dollar will do him good. Remember that. Remember that the people who were once esteemed, the lawyers, the judges, the people who once, for a fact, even if they weren't on your side, they understood the law, will fail, will turn into stupid people. The law of stupidity. It's all over the internet. Just type that in. And the greatest legal minds of all time will find ways to support and uphold authoritarianism, including the Supreme Court. The laws, the Constitution, the black and white lettering has not mattered. We haven't seen the full Epstein files, so rulings from the judges who interpret the laws don't matter. And the Supreme Court has turned Donald Trump into a king with the sign of a pen. So whatever you thought was the case doesn't matter. That's something that needs to change. In 3 years, when this is over, hopefully before that, but it's going to take a long time, and it's not going to be over because he loses or wins. I just said that. He's going to try again. In 3 years, after this fight is done, and people have lost their lives, and the country is turned into a third world country, and we're in pockets of resistance around the country that are struggling to survive after a dictatorship run by white nationalists and racists, and lives have been destroyed after the 3 years of that, because this fight will be long. Get ready! I'm here the entire time. You can join me or fall victim. That's what I'm saying. But after that, we have to figure out how to change that. We have to figure out how to change the idea of the most corrupt people being in the judiciary, interpreting the black and white letter of the law so that it is no longer the black and white letter of the law. We can't go back to what it was. This isn't going to make America great again. This resistance isn't about bringing back what we had. It's about changing into something new, because the Supreme Court and the actions of this administration, who still hasn't given us the Epstein file because following the rule of law doesn't matter, and nothing has happened to anybody. Nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. Our best bet is to fight hard until 2026, and maybe we have enough Democrats in there and they can impeach him, and that's a fucking high hope, because they can't even sign the letters of impeachment now. We have to change it. This whole entire place has to change. The government has to change. The rules have to change. You have to get used to that.
This is very, very dangerous stuff. And the more that this gets reported by the legacy media, as I saw it in the legacy media, reported as if somehow this may be a thing, right, as opposed to just, this is authoritarianism. This is literally what authoritarians do. The more dangerous this becomes.
Third is our media needs to change. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. That's why he gets away with these things. Our inability to name authoritarianism what it is from the beginning with clarity, without both sidesing it, has turned people who can barely read, thanks to the Republican education system, which is exactly what they were going for and is what they're hoping to do now to the kids. That's another story, another video. But we have millions, tens of millions of stupid, ignorant imbeciles, uneducated fools. And the idea that the media will both sides and muddy the waters to people like that is why we're here. The next thing that needs to change is our media, our consumption of media, our interpretation of how we teach media to our kids, our literacy of media, our thirst for the knowledge, for understanding of media needs to grow, change, and be taught to younger people now, or else we'll go back to the same place. This is all just one lesson. Part 3. Here's part 4.
Why do you think that Trump seems so intent on repeating this over and over and over again? Because, you know, the reality is we've heard this story numerous times. You and I have done videos on this story numerous times. It's always met with the same kind of backlash by people like us. And so why do you think that he purposefully or voluntarily introduces this story into the zeitgeist?
Yeah, so again, this is what worries me about the state of democracy right now. It is what worries me about the legacy media. It's the reason why I do these videos with you, Brian, and it is the reason why I need everyone right now to be a subscriber to this channel. And I need you to hit that bell and make sure you get alerted when there's new content, because the fact is the legacy media eats this stuff up. So why does Donald Trump do this? Because he wants to run for a third term, because he wants to serve for president for life, and he wants to violate the Constitution. He is violating the Constitution on other things all the time. So why not throw this in? And the problem is that the legacy media treats this as either not serious or as sort of a debatable legal proposition that the courts will have to sort out. I mean, look what they've done with birthright citizenship, something that could not be clear in the Constitution. But the legacy media loves the idea that there is like two sides to this, and that, right, you know, there are lawyers here and there are lawyers there. The lawyers who are saying that there's no birthright citizenship, they are crackpots. The lawyer who is apparently maybe writing a book saying that he can run for a third term, if he writes that, he is a crackpot. And yet, too many people in legacy media treat these as respectable things. And what it does is it allows Donald Trump to normalize this thing. It allows him to spread a lie. And what happened in 2020 is he spread this lie and he spread this lie, and the legacy media told us, don't worry, he'll come to his senses. Don't worry. He just needs time to process it. Don't worry. Don't worry. And the next fucking thing we had was an insurrection that was violent in the nation's capital. Yeah. So is Donald Trump planning on running for a third term? Is he planning on trying to maneuver around it? Or is he trying to inspire his now pardoned army of misfits to rise up with potential violence Who the hell knows what's in Donald Trump's mind? But we need responsible media to be responsible. But Brian, I've given up on them, which is, like I said, why I need people to pay attention to what Brian is putting on his channel, because it's the only place, it's one of the few places you're going to get it as it is and not filtered through some corporate overlord. There's no venture capitalist standing behind this guy. There's no private equity firm, just off camera telling him what to say. And so I'm sorry to go on a rant about this, Brian, but Donald Trump wants to normalize this, and there are too many fucking parts of society, pardon my language now having sworn 3 times, that are humoring this, and it only fuels it.
Number 4 is when independent media, when Owl Media, the brand new media company that Closer to the Edge podcast that I'm very proud to be a part of, comes out, when the Sons of Liberty and when Political Drain, not just Brian Tyler Cohen, says we need you to join. We need you to join Patreon and pay monthly because that money goes to help people in need. We need to help grow the channel. It's not because we're greedy monsters. We don't have a corporate overlord, but it's because the only way that everything that I said before stops and the new things start is if we get rid of the old media. Join, subscribe, pay for the paid joining. Subscribing is free. As many as you can. As many as you can. Because if you think it's just because you need to hear what's new and what's real, that's the smallest part of it. The truth is, by joining and subscribing and paying and not feeding the other monster, the corporate, you're saving this country. It's that serious. And it's hard to relay that to you without sounding, hyperbolic and greedy or like a used car salesman. But I don't know how else to say it. The time to fight is now. And the America that we're going to have to rebuild is only going to happen if we destroy the old one, the old media. Turn it off. Don't pay for it. Give those dollars to independent media. The time to fight is now.
Hey, yeah, you. Before you click away to watch someone unbox a tactical toothbrush, let's talk about something real. Political Drain isn't just another content mill. We're a digital front in a very real war. Not with bullets, but with ideas, with action, and with solidarity. We pair urgent news with critical education. And we build community around actual resistance, not the hashtag kind. The kind that moves. But here's the thing. None of this is free. It isn't. Behind every video is time, labor, research, and some weird guy asking if we're going to pay the hosting bill. And yeah, some of that money goes to things we can't necessarily say out loud. If you know, you know. Let's just say our special ops aren't Call of Duty LARPers. They're people making real moves to protect, uplift, and organize. You're not just funding a channel. You're funding a resistance network in a world where capital still calls the shots. Unfortunately, in a system built on artificial scarcity, even mutual aid has a price tag. And if we want to grow, if we want to win, we need your help. We need your help. So if you've got even a few bucks to spare, toss it our way. It's not for ads. It's not for merch drops, but for people making moves in the shadows so others can do it in the light. It's just us and you. So fund the mission, fund the fight, fund the future, because nobody's coming to save us. We save each other. That's how this works. Follow us on all these things you see here, and our link tree is in the description. Maybe even get some merch.